So that was my story about how I became a teacher. Now in the conversation, I used several of the third conditionals, the conditional sentences we have seen in the last module. And now I just want to give you some more examples, right? So let's remember the idea. Now I became a teacher. The past is the past. I cannot change it. I mean, I can look at the past and make opinions and talk about different ideas, but I can't change it. The sentences I use are not real. Now, let me explain that a little better. So one of my examples was, if I had not decided to work for a year. Now, this is not real because I decided to work. I did not go to university. I decided to work for a year in a hotel. And the idea of I would have studied something. But again, I didn't study anything. Now, later in life, I went to university. But directly after high school, I didn't. This is the crucial concept, that it's not real. If I hadn't decided to work for a year, I would have studied something. So again, I'm just imagining a different reality. If I had not decided, if I am imagining the reality where I had not decided, but I did, and I did not study. So it's not real. It's about the idea of what would have happened if another thing had not happened. Okay? Now let's look a little bit at the pronunciation. Now in these sections, it's really, really important that you train the pronunciation with me. It's only training and repetition and again that really helps you use these sentences fluently and in your own conversations. So let's go. If I had not decided to work for a year. Now had not will contract to hadn't with a T. If I hadn't decided to work for a year. And when we go a little faster, you see the T disappears and it connects with the next verb, right? Hadn't. That strong N, hadn't, and it connects to the next verb. If I hadn't decided to work for a year. If I hadn't decided to work for a year. In this one here, we'll see some dramatic changes from I would have studied something to I would have studied something. Now, until now, it's still correct grammatically. Like, it's still correct in writing. But here's the reality. Here's what we really say. I would have studied something. I would have studied something, right? And you need to train your listening, train your ears to be ready to hear this in a conversation, because I promise you will hear it. A lot of people spend time looking at grammar books and whatever, waiting to hear I would have studied something. But the reality is I would have studied something. I would have studied something. Now I talk about the idea that, if I had studied something, it would not have been my passion. Now, I was very lucky, very fortunate that when I went to university, I studied Spanish literature and translation. And it was amazing and I loved it. I had 4 amazing years and I learned so much and I had amazing teachers and it really was my passion. But my point here is that I'm looking at my past. I cannot change my past, but I can have opinions and ideas about it. What I'm saying is, if I had studied something, it would not have been my passion. But, this never happened. I didn't study something. It was only later that I studied something that really was my passion. So it's not real. That's the concept of this unreal conditional. If I had studied something directly after high school, it would not have been my passion. Now, the pronunciation here can change a lot. From it would not have been my passion. Now, always repeating with me. It wouldn't have been my passion. It wouldn't have been my passion. Now, it's still correct until now, but it's the next part where the T will be silent and the have will become right? So it's, it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been my passion. Train with me so that you're ready and you're listening and you're speaking. It wouldn't have been my passion. Now, this is all about the cause and effect in past sequence of events. I look at my past and I think about my decisions. And I look at those different possibilities in the past, right? Where if I had not decided to work, I would have studied something and it wouldn't have been my passion. So past decisions, when you think about your previous past decisions, like what made you make this decision? I'm talking about those big decisions, like what did you study? Did you travel to a different country to live? Did you marry someone or go out with someone? What would you have done if you had not taken this decision? So these are the questions for you to answer and to think about, to start making your own sentences with, well, if I had not studied, I don't know, economics, I would have studied, I don't know, law. If I hadn't studied economics, I would have studied law. So think about it now. If you studied in university and if you had chosen a different subject, a different idea, what would you have done? Okay guys, that ends this video. I'll see you in the next video where we will see another of my personal stories talking about how I became inspired to learn languages. Alright my friends, I'll see you in the next video.